Hey y'all. So for those of you that are new, my name is Shahaadah Morell and this channel is called Haadah's Archives because we are deep in the archives of my life and my creative process. I am an artist, a writer, a mother, a new mother, and yeah, this video is going to be about grief. So I'm back here at Paris Baguette. I like this spot. I wanted to come and try a new drink, and I changed my mind when I got here. I should never change my mind. I should have got the Nutella drink, but instead I got this milk and cereal drink. But it's all good. But this video, I wanted to speak about grief and transmuting grief and how I've been doing that for the past 5 years. Some of you may know my grandmother passed away 5 years ago in April. So this is like a April kind of like recap, but also like advice on like grief and how to transmute grief, how to deal with grief, how I've been dealing with grief, and just some of my thoughts from like back then when I was like in the thick of my grief and like how I've been navigating that now. Let's just start talking about like the day of, right? Like her anniversary. So my grandmother passed away April 9th, which I think is such a powerful day because in numerology, the nine number, from what I've heard, is like a real ancestral number. The day of her anniversary, it was really chill. I was at home with my daughter and her father, and my sister came over and she cooked for us. Wow, this feels like so long ago because it's about to be like a month. But yeah, she cooked for us and I was really appreciative for that. You know, whoever comes over and that could cook for me and relieve my duties of cooking or relieve my partner duties of cooking, and we just like, you know, can relax more, is always top tier. So she cooked for us and the food was so good, so comforting. And just seeing her interact with my daughter really had me think of when I first lost my grandmother. I was really sad because at that time I didn't have my daughter, I didn't have any kids. And I was just like, oh my God, like I'm never going to physically see my grandmother love on my kids. And that would make me so emotional. I would cry and like be real in my bag, be like, oh, you know, but now the way that I think of it 5 years later, I'm like, wow, like my grandmother's essence is through all of us, you know, through all of her granddaughters, you know, and like that maternal love, that intentional love, um, the taste palette, clock it, because Tima could really cook. I could really cook too. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like the taste, I think we really give flavor in cuisines, you know. So I think that's because of my grandmother. Just like her love, her grace, her nurturing, like seeing that within my sister, because my sister that I'm talking about is older than me. But you know, we have that, you know, all of us have that within us. So I can't see my grandmother physically love on my daughter, but I can see the essence of her through us. And that makes me so grounded and it makes me so happy. It makes me so relieved that I've come to this realization 5 years later. And I'm just like, I'm not losing in any way. I'm not losing, you know, I know she's still, you know, above. I definitely still feel that way. I still believe in that, that our ancestors do watch over us. So, you know, that caveat always was comforting, but it's kind of like, oh, you know, I want to see her laugh and love and hug and make silly faces with my daughter, you know. But seeing that with my sister is just like, so that was one big takeaway that I realized this anniversary. Speaking on my nervous system and speaking about how I had to realize that I was overworking myself and exerting too much energy. And this is something that I feel like somebody needs to hear, like advice, you know, especially for creative, somebody that's an artist, you know, whether you're self-taught or, you know, going to school for art, um, to pay attention to support and your energy. I feel like as a young artist, this is just me. I'm such a big lover and such a big supporter, and I deeply believe that you are stronger together than by yourself. I'm always with supporting. I'm always with trying to collaborate with collectives, with galleries, with other artists, um, and you have to pay attention to the energy that is being exerted when you're supporting, and through that support, what energy is coming back to you? How are you being filled? Because we try, there's this misconception about like free help, free support is not energy. Like there's still energy taxing for free support. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say a friend, this is hypothetical, a friend was throwing an art show. Now you respect this artist, this is your friend, yeah, cool, they having an art show. Now you respect the artist, you respect the event space or the gallery or the art collective that they're having the art show with, the exhibition with. Now you're sitting here posting the show, you're posting their work, you're helping them market the work. Now, if there's flyers, you're giving out this flyer, you're giving out that flyer, but you're doing it pro bono. That energy is taxing. And now you have a show and you're not getting that same energy, or you have the show and the people just come to the show but they don't help you bring awareness to the show, bring awareness to your art. That's imbalanced support, that's imbalanced energy receptivity, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's taxing, and you feel that. Not only do you feel that on a physical level, you feel that on a spiritual level, because you start to feel the imbalance of that support. You start to feel like that you're not fully being honored in some way. There's some way where you're being taken advantage, and people will do it. People could be so cool and still take advantage of you, give you a little less exposure than they're giving themselves, and it's more beneficial towards them, and they will be okay with that. And like get it out the mud, right? And it's like, yeah, we're both getting out the mud, but I'm kind of digging you out the mud a little more. It's not fair. I'm supposed to be shovel, 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 shovel. I'm shoveling yours more. I'm breaking the sweat more. What's going on with that? Long story short, I was doing that. I was exerting more energy than I needed to. I live the farthest than everybody. I live in Staten Island, so everyone is in the city. They're in the city. They're in Brooklyn. They're in Williamsburg. They're in the Bronx. They're in Queens. They're in Harlem. I'm going every which way. I'm going here. I'm going there. I'm doing that while I'm in school. Let's go a little back from like 2018, 2017, because I was doing shows like in the city and stuff like that since like 2018, and I'm still in school. I'm still working full time. I'm making a way to do this, do that, do this, do that. Um, and then I graduate, and then COVID hits, and I'm still finding a way to do this, do that. I'm still doing, shows that are virtual. I'm still doing auctions that are virtual. I'm still doing these art panels, conversations. Like, I'm still trying to work with the times, basically, but I'm really not sitting down. I'm not I'm not really reevaluating my decision making. I'm just doing stuff. I'm just like, I'm young. I'm out here. I really don't have no supervision like that. I'm grown. I'm making my own money. Like, I could drink and age. Like, I'm doing whatever I want to do. But I really wasn't taking the time to stop. And even when COVID hit, I could have seen that as taking the time to stop, and I didn't. And then my grandmother passed away. I could have used that to take the time to stop, and I still didn't. I still was going outside when like the community and everything opened back up. I still was doing art shows. People was like, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure? Do you need time?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." Like, and I think it's because like just like growing up in the religion of Islam, like that people are dying. We speak about the day of Yom Kippur, the day of judgment. We speak about the afterlife. We speak about people dying, and like, it's sunnah to only like cry 3 days and like that's it. That's what I'm being told, from my elders. I think that's heavily ingrained in my nervous system. I think that's heavily ingrained in my body. So I'm really not I'm not crying like that. I'm not showing emotion. I mean, I'm holding it. I'm trying to keep it together as best as I can. But it's really fronting low key, and when I did have this anxiety attack, and then after that I had to get emergency surgery. I had to get my appendix removed. And after I got surgery is when I really sat down. This is like maybe a year after my grandmother passed away. That's when I sat down and I was like, you, because I had to, right? I had to heal because they cut me. So I'm like, I was forced to sit down. And through the sit down, I recovered at my mother's house. And when I sat down, I was like, oh my God. I was like, my anxiety was so bad. I was not expressing myself transparently. I was having this war within myself. I wasn't being open and being realistic about where I was at emotionally in this space of grief. And I just let it all out. I just remember telling her, like, Ma, I'm so scared. I'm scared to be by myself. I'm scared of the dark. I have suicide ideation. She was like, no, my baby. I can laugh at this now, but my mother is so cute. She's so adorable. She was like, no, no. Oh my God, no. Why? I was like, Mommy, I don't know. I'm just going through it. She was, no. I was like, yeah, girl. Because I don't live with my mom. So she's like, oh my God. And I wasn't telling her everything I was going through. And I think your mother always knows, you gonna go through something. And she was always looking for it, but she wasn't pressing for it, which I appreciate because, I'm a Scorpio. I don't like that pressing stuff. Mind your business. So when it was time, she was like, come, yeah, let me know what you going through. She's very like, yeah, give it to me. Give it to me. What's all that? So she was so helpful during that time, during that healing process. Shout outs to my mom. um Such a dark time, and then that's when I came up with the idea to write the book, because I was like, through this process, do this sitting down. Around that time I had a good practice, a habitual practice of journaling. So I think it was just a time for me to like look back on those journeys, because I really knew I needed to heavily reflect on myself. I needed to know what I was doing, where I was going, how I was feeling, who am I at this point. And I got to do all of that. And I published a book. I got to do all of that. Very proud of myself. I got to heal. I got to be open with my support system and the people that love me. I had to go through this big transformative process that allowed me to regulate my nervous system, so that right before I had my daughter, I was at this place of like peace. And that would have never happened if my grandmother didn't pass away. And I feel very appreciative of that. That is still off the back of my ancestor. You know what I mean? I take all of that into play and I'm like, thankful, thankful. So I wanted to go into this other big lesson. When my grandmother passed away, I had heavy guilt centered around not spending enough time with her before she passed. Was born in October, so it's spooky. Um, I would have dreams before my grandmother passed away that she was going to pass away. So we would be standing in front of her building and she would be telling me like, so you're not gonna see me, you're not gonna call me, I'm about to pass away, right? I'm about to die, right? She would say, like, I would have dreams like that. And I still wasn't coming through. I was coming through for holidays, for her birthday, for Thanksgiving, for, but when it came to like, because me and my grandmother, we grew up in the same projects. We grew up in the same neighborhood. So I was always going to her house when I was young, up to the time where I really got to high school is when it started dwindling. And I would only come around the times of like holidays and birthdays and things of that nature. And when I got to college, it was the same way. I moved to Staten Island, and when I moved, she specifically told me, "Don't be a stranger." Of course, right? Because she's wise. She knows this. She's like, "You gonna grow up, live your whole life, and then you're gonna forget that I was here." And I think she kept trying to like plant that nugget of intention and being like, make sure you come see me, make sure you come check me, make sure you still have this connection to me, because time. And I didn't really take heed to that. So there was grief that I had and guilt that I had centered around that. I was like, wow, wow. So it was true. So I'm gifted. I can see. Like, wow. Um, but now, and I sobbed, right? Just to like really get to the visual of how guilty I felt. I would sob and talk to my oldest sister and talk to my best friend Sophia, and I'm sure my best friend Kia too, just letting them know how guilty I felt and how toe up I was about it. I'm hard on myself, but I was in college, like literally in college. Imagine if I went away for college. I wouldn't have been here anyway. If I moved away, if I went to college in a different state, imagine all that. I wouldn't even have been here. So I think about that and I'm like, if I lay off the guilt trip just a bit, it wasn't even that bad. If I was away for college, I would have been coming through whenever I had, those little breaks anyway. So she wouldn't even have seen me that much anyway. So that was relief. That was release. And that's off the back of my ancestors too. Shout out to Jill Scott, because that song really, like that album that she just put out, really lifts me and helps me, keeps me grounded as well, because it's just like, you know, because of her, because of my grandmother. My grandmother's Trinidadian. She came from Trinidad, migrated here from Trinidad. If she didn't do all of that, I wouldn't even had been here, clock it. And college education. I think some may say, specifically like Caribbeans too, we all know the island elders. Some may say that I am super duper uh, privileged to have a career in art. You know what I'm saying? What we really doing with that? You know what I mean? Like being like, yeah, I'm gonna go this route. And then really walk and step in that route. And I was walking and stepping, okay? I was chucking. Okay, so and it all wasn't for no reason. All is as it's meant to be. So that was a big, big, big lesson, big release um that I had. And April is just such an important month too, just to tell y'all a little bit of my life. April is such a big transformative month. My grandmother passed away in April 9th. My sister had this life changing surgery before my grandmother passed away. My mother beat breast cancer and she finished her treatment and everything in April. So April is just like a big, powerful month that I feel like reminds me of the beautiful women in my life, reminds me of this nurturing spirit, reminds me of life, it reminds me of rebirth. And I just think of transmutation. I think of alchemy. I think of magic. I think of life. I think about the source of life. I think about God. I think about our ancestors. I think about it. I think about the beauty of existence. And I think that is the big takeaway when someone passes, when you go through grief, is that existence, though, that hits. Like, it's beautiful. It is like, so That's all I have for this segment of recapping April. I did hang out with my best friend Kia and my college friend Jamadi, and I want to show y'all that day, and I want y'all to get all into that. So, thank y'all for being here and caring about how I've been transforming and transmuting my grief, and taking the time to reflect on your own process. So, have a good one. Watch and subscribe. Like, I'm gonna be back with more videos. Mother's Day is coming up. I definitely want to have some cutesy videos, some montage videos with my daughter because she is so adorable and I love her so much. And I have so much footage of her, it has to be used in some way. So we're gonna do that. One Piece? What One Piece? Oh, wait. This is on that nice walk. Very nice. Time is important. Sisterhood is important. Period. Like, how people be like, we known each other for 5 years. Whole life. Whole life. Word, literally. This willow tree is so nice. These are so good. So good. We had went to Target first to get some drinks. He didn't get a drink because we're serious. Well, yeah. No sugar, no dairy. The no dairy. Because I told y'all I was trying to lay off the sugar. I am, and I'm working on it. Just because I didn't commit to it don't mean. Right. She got an Olipop. Which is. What if I did want to tell her? No. I got water. I'm supposed to be drinking more water. You did say that in your last vlog. She was like, I don't drink more water. I remember that. You tell it all. She a truth teller. We all holding me accountable with the water. Me and Key and Five and Below. We looking at all the cute stuff. For Mother's Day, I'm having like a get together where all my closest friends, people that have really been there for me for my pregnancy, and we look at everywhere and we see these bags. So Kia like, not the Christian Dior do, and I'm like, please, like, I live within my means. This Five and Velour. Five and Velour, like. You see me with it, don't say nothing. Honestly, it would be a cute beach bag. It would be a cute beach bag. The cutest thing. Little trinket thingy, so cute. The SpongeBob socks with the iconic key. Yay! Oh my god, this is so cute. I'm excited. Let's go on a long walk.
Let's go on a long walk. You want to take a long walk?
I want to go.
Because I'm in the middle. So we can take a long walk. Or we could.
Let's take a short walk straight to yours and then a long walk after.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Flowers are aging very well. Look at the tulips. They was closed. Like this, they all opened up. I love parrot tulips.
Wow.
Gorgeous. I love parrot tulips. Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about this. Since I use preserved flowers, I kind of don't get to see. But since they use live flowers, we're seeing the life. They bloom out. So good. I love parrot tulips. So good. Yeah, but she ate that, right?
Yeah, she definitely ate that. Absolutely ate it. Oh, hibiscus flower stop.
I love her.
I love that.
Hummingbird on her wrist.
Yes, because you know the main ingredient in sorrow is hibiscus, and that's a Trinidadian drink. You know, Caribbean drink. Yes, so hibiscus floral. That's so nice. Period.
And she was such a sweetheart person. I love her.
I feel very seen.
Right? So she got my vote. She was my favorite.